Hello everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday comic early review video. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So every Tuesday after we're done bagging and boarding the comics, we pull aside all the issue number ones, all the new desirable ones we want to read, the latest issue of Venom and Hulk, those ones. We divide them up, we give them a read, and then we do this show where we try to tell you a little bit about what's going on in them, what the issue's about, but without revealing too
Mhm.
much. We call it a spoiler light show. We're going to let you know if there's major first appearances, things of that sort. But we're also going to just tell you what the comics are about so that when you go in your store, you know a little bit more than what the general solicitations say. Because they are often very vague. They leave you wondering, especially with new number ones and such. It's like, what is this book
Yeah.
about? We're going to tell you. So, a little bit of a small week, not a ton of books out this week as compared to previous ones.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, some really good books out, some to get very excited about, as you can see in front of us.
Sometimes we have small shows and it's because, DC took this week off or Marvel. No, everyone showed up.
Yeah,
It's just they didn't have a ton each. And I think that's actually kind of nice. We got some really enjoyable
we
titles.
could focus in on them a
Yeah.
bit more. So, we have a lot of books off to the side we'll be showing as well, and we show variants and some incentive covers. So, without further ado, Andy, why don't you start us
I'm
out?
going to start off with what's probably one of my favorite ongoing series right now, for many reasons, but that is Hulk. This is
Yeah.
Hulk number 4, and this is I like this. This almost reminds me of the early days of Donny Cates being on Venom, where it's just fun. Like every issue is like, what are we gonna see next? What crazy creature or character is he gonna introduce? And what I really like about this is he definitely plays to his artist's strengths. And having Ryan Otley on this, you know that he is going to shoehorn in a way for Hulk to
A
smash
lot of action.
a lot of action,
That's
a
what
lot of
Ollie
that,
is good
and
at doing.
shoehorn in the best way of like, that's what I want from this. And this new invention of how the spaceship Hulk has his engine room that's powered by waves and waves of just kind of whatever Donny Cates wants to throw in there. In issue 2, I think we got the giant-sized Wolverine that Hulk fought, and in this one, it's no different. I won't say what it is because I think that's some of the fun is the kind of revelation of turning the page and seeing what it is. But in this one, we do get a fan favorite version of some key Marvel characters. You'll have to see, and of course, tons of smashing. But what's big about this issue is we get a little bit more explanation to where Hulk is after he got pulled into this portal by a alternate universes version of Bruce Banner. Uh, we get some backstory on that world and how it went differently than the 616 universe. So we find out how Thunderbolt Ross became President Ross. What happened to the other heroes like Iron Man? There's actually a pretty full page explanation of what happened to Iron Man that kind of sends us off on where this world went wrong. Hulk even mentions like, where's even like Moon Knight and Spider-Man, and the other Bruce Banner's like, you're just saying words. I don't know who you're talking about. So you kind of get a little bit of idea there. But we do find out President Ross's kind of his secret weapon, or who his secret weapon is, which I think is always fun in books like this. A mysterious character in shadow that you know something's coming, you know this is going to be something fun, but they kind of drag it out in a kind of even a countdown way to seeing what it is. So you do see uh, what is a secret weapon in this version of the Marvel Universe. It's going to be going up against Hulk. Very fun, action-packed issue. I love that every issue is heavy on the action, uh, heavy on the surprises. So I really like this issue. It's definitely in my top favorite ones this week. I've got some surprise favorite ones too. I can't wait to talk about that. Just were a load of fun. But I think that's kind of the theme of my books this week is really fun, over the top books that is really nice to have sometimes. Sometimes you get very uh, methodical and introspective books that are great. No, this week is all about the action and the fun. So that is Hulk #4.
Yeah, he is really good for the surprises, and like you were saying with the Hulk engine, it's like every issue he gets to tell a what if story that's a battle.
Yeah, of things that just like with the giant size Wolverine is like, it's like he's going through his comics and being like, oh, this would be cool to see him fight and
Right.
everything.
Yep.
So we do have a variant here. We have the 1 in 25 gist variant. And I did not realize until I just looked at it that this gives away a little bit of what's coming in the issue. I didn't even look at Wolverine up close, but
Right.
it does
Okay.
reflect what's going on in it.
Yeah, you gotta see it up close to really
Yes.
get the full.
And we
gravity
are
of it.
selling this really awesome cover to our customers for $55.
All right, so this might have been the book I was the most just anticipating. I think a lot of you out there are as well. I read the first Iron Fist. That's right, a new Iron Fist series. So a new Iron Fist series, that's pretty cool. But how about a new Iron Fist series starring a brand new Iron Fist? That is what made me anticipate this book. This is what really got me excited to read it. Now, I know there's a lot of rumors out there of who this new Iron Fist is going to be. What I'll tell you is they don't drag it out, okay? They have a real story they want to tell in this, and so the story is not the mystery of who this person is. You will know who it is without a doubt if you read the issue.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you who it is. So brand new Iron Fist in this issue. You get to know the identity. There is still some mystery as to how the power is working, but even a lot of that gets cleared up by the end of the issue. You pretty much learn most of that so that they could tell their own original story, because this character has things they want to do. Now, Danny Rand is still in this. In fact, he's no longer Iron Fist. Danny Rand gave up his powers to save the world a little while back. He had to kind of give his powers to somebody else to use them who couldn't keep them. But he lost the mantle of Iron Fist when he did that, and he hasn't had it ever since. Doesn't mean he's not an effective individual. He's no longer Iron Fist. He's a guy who knows karate, or kung fu, a whole lot of it too.
Yeah.
So he's still in this, and of course, him and the new Iron Fist paths cross, and they do battle, but it's not out of hate or anything like that. You'll have to read the issue to see, how that all works out. But I get the sense that they're not forgetting about Danny Rand. I think he is going to be pretty much a co-star of this book. But the character who is the new Iron Fist, I'm pretty excited about. I can't wait to see where they take the character, and I can't talk about who it is.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to talk about too because they do tell you in the issue. It's not like
too much of a spoiler for this show, though. You got to read it yourself.
It's cool that it's not going to be drug out. That let's get right into the meat of the story.
I'd also like to praise the art. So the artist, his name is Michael Yig. Like the last name is literally YG, no vowels or anything. Anyway, the art is really cool because it's hard to do kung fu when you're just doing panels. You know? That takes up a lot of panels to show all these moves. So it's a lot of freeze frames of different moves and different styles. And I watch a lot of kung fu movies, so I was looking at these going, yes, I know that, and yes, I see that. I thought all the art was done really, really well. The storytelling is very clear and well done, too, by Alyssa Wong. So they get through a lot of the mystery. A lot of things are cleared up, which is nice. Sometimes it's nice for things to be drug out. Other times it's like, go ahead and just, do the reveal. And that's what they do because they have their own story they want to tell. So we just have these two variants I'm going to show you. Here is the Todd Knock variant. And yes, that's the new Iron Fist. And we have this X-Gwen variant. We do actually have an incentive as well. We have a 1 in 25 U variant we're selling for $40 to our customers.
Yeah, I kind of like that new thing. I don't know if it's new, but it's almost like how everyone's like, oh, Ben Reilly's going to be taking over the Spider-Man book. But it's like, no, Peter Parker's still there.
Right.
And how this is like, we'll keep Danny Rand around. Like, it's an interesting conversation between the new and the old and everything. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that's a
just a racing characters that people care about.
Okay, so I hope everyone is in their pajamas with a bowl of cereal Saturday morning, and we're going to watch the newest episode of G.I. Joe? What? This is G.I. Joe Saturday Morning Adventures #1. So I've been excited about this. This is a new miniseries from IDW and the creative team that was behind the IDW series recently, the Godzilla Protector series and the Ghostbuster series. Great team of Schoening and Burnham. That they have a really great sense of like what made something popular. What did people like about it? They did that with Ghostbusters.
The essence.
The essence. That's what I was looking for. And this time they capture the Saturday morning version of G.I. Joe. Can't wait for people to see the art in this because it is like you took screen grabs of episodes of G.I. Joe you've never seen.
It is true. So Andy showed me. He was so excited. He's like, look at this. This looks just like the show. And it's true, except I remember so clearly watching the show when I was a kid. My TV wasn't that sharp.
Exactly, yeah.
It looks like the art if the art had been in like 1080p.
Yeah, maybe if you bought the season now on like Blu-ray,
Right.
what it would look like. So, and just like the original show, this is some outrageous storylines, which is great because we've had our grim and gritty versions that have come later. Even the original Marvel series, definitely more serious.
Yeah.
This is, as you can see on the cover, Cobra Commander finds Aladdin's magic lamp. I just like how you start reading this and you just assume, I guess that was true, and Cobra Commander had some idea that he could find this lamp, but he rubs it and gets a genie. So you have Cobra Commander who has 3 wishes. Well, what's the first thing he's going to wish for? Unlimited power,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
But he can't get that. There are some genie stipulations that always come. So what's his backup? He gets some suggestions from his Cobra peanut gallery. So you've got Destro there, you've got Baroness, you've got Zartan, you've got all of them throwing out ideas of what he should wish for. You'll have to read it to find out what it is, but of course it's not good news for the Joes. But I can, no spoiler, I think that the Joes are going to come out on top in the end. But that does not diminish how fun this is.
Yeah, it's the TV show.
It's the TV show.
Yeah.
The
Unless it's a 2-parter. Then part 1 ends where the Joes lose in.
But people are going to have so much fun with this. If you were a fan of the original cartoon, a G.I. Joe fan in general, don't look for this to be a dark spin on the original show. No, this is almost like a lost episode. But with some little modern day fun here and there, some tongue-in-cheek knowing of how the show was. And that brings me to the most important thing. There is the more you know PSA at the end of this that is so much fun when a boy decides he read a comic, he doesn't like it, and he's going to go online and tell everyone how stupid the writers are of this. But he needs to learn a valuable lesson. You'll have to read it to get the full PSA. It's great. You've got some of your favorite G.I. Joe characters in this. Some that you maybe didn't even appear in the show that much, but people remember the toys of. Some references to play sets, everything. It's just chock full of Easter eggs and fun. So I really like this. This could be my favorite read of the week, just for the sheer amount of fun, nostalgia, everything that came along with this. The writing was spot on. The voices, I could hear Cobra Commander's voice in my head reading it. So
I wanted to read it. I almost fought you over which one of us was going to read that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll read it later, but...
So this is our A cover, there with Cobra Commander holding the Aladdin's magic lamp. And it has this cool, banner at the top, the Saturday Morning Adventures, that I really hope we get some more. I hope we get a Silverhawks and Brave Star. Just give us all the fun TV shows. We've got some variants for this as well. This is the Huang variant.
Okay, so I read Detective Comics 1053. So nice to have a weekly comic to turn to. It's every week what's going on. But look at this cover. It's Penguin burning money, and it says, "Feel good to be a gangster."
It's like an album.
They're having fun, yeah, with this cover, but it does relate to the interior. And Penguin was more in the backup story, The House of Gotham. So I was like, are they doing a cover related to the backup story here? But no, he is in the main story in this one. So this issue has a lot to do with Dr. Ware. Dr. Ware, of course, is the head of Arkham Tower, but the problems are mounting. Lately, his system to keep the patients under control quit for a little while, and the patients went crazy. And beyond that, the Bat family is getting closer and closer to figuring out what's going on and what he's doing. So, with all these problems, Dr. Ware is going to have to turn to someone for assistance. Now, who is that? You'll have to read the issue, but I'll give you a hint. It's definitely not a good person. When you need help and you're doing shady stuff, you got to turn to the underworld.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, Nightwing is getting closer and closer to the truth. He's starting to figure things out. He's using all those detective skills he's learned with Batman and on his own. In fact, he gets so close to the truth in this issue that it puts him in some severe danger by the end of the issue. The backup story, House of Gotham, that's been really interesting. I think it's Matthew Rosenberg's been writing that. And it's been about this kid's life who ends up in Arkham a few times. I mean, he's young and everything. It's pretty dark. And in this one, he gets life advice from Bane as they're escaping, sort of together. Because Bane, he's not really anybody's friend.
Yeah.
Really dark, messed up one, but it's good. Some of the conversation, some of the things that they do in this issue has been rumbling in my head afterwards. That's how you know that it sticks. So another good issue of Detective Comics 1053, where I think even the backup story in this one was exceptional. So we have this variant from Lee Bermejo. I mean, honestly, I think this one's good just to read that backup story to see Bane giving advice to like a 10-year-old of how to live his life and such.
First, you get this Venom, and then
let's just say he puts him through a school of hard knocks real quick.
Yeah. Okay, well, my next one is also a Batman book, but this is going way back because this is Batman the Knight, #2. So this book is interesting because it's written by Chip Zdarsky, which I feel like is the tipping factor into why it's good. This is a story that, like I said when I talked about the first issue, we've heard 100 times. This is Bruce Wayne, before he's Batman, going out and kind of learning the skill set he's going to have to later take on the mantle of Batman. Now, what's so good in this is the writing. So the concept is pretty average of like we've seen this. Yeah, it's a well-tread thing, but this ends up being one of the best reads because of how well it's written and the kind of how it, I don't want to say stretches out that story, but you basically see every step along the way of how Bruce Wayne is going to get these skills, and sometimes even getting those skills used on him. You see some signature Batman moves that get pulled on him. Maybe he's talking to someone, turns away and turns back, and they're gone. And so maybe he does know how that feels. So this is an excellent book, without Batman. So this is the first leg of Bruce Wayne's journey where he is going to Paris. He kind of thinks the a little bit of the stereotype of this is kind of a city of thieves. He's heard some rumblings that there are some master criminals here, and he's going to stop them because he doesn't know what he's doing with his life, but he knows I'm just going to stop bad guys. Like I feel like that's my thing, and here's where I'm going to start. When he is kind of schooled by a cat burglar in the city, you could almost say a proto-Catwoman type character, and her name is the Gray Shadow. this is going to be a first appearance for Grey Shadow, at least as far as I could tell. I looked it up. And she is a super cool character, so much so I want to see more of her. Um, because she's kind of the one who basically takes Bruce Wayne and's like, I think you have something. You have potential. If you're going to do this life that you're saying, you're going to stop criminals. I believe you. But if you want to learn, that's going to require you learning how to become a criminal. So this is Bruce Wayne being like, to get to the place I want to be, I might have to go through some dark places to get
Right.
there. And you get a lot of, where does he get his kind of lock picking skills? Where does he get his, you know, existing in the shadows skills and everything? That I think that's what really makes this issue stand apart from other stories like this I've read is you're seeing his signature skills being brought into play. Um, but there is another classic person that Bruce Wayne is going to learn from, uh, who is on the other side, someone who you may think of as a criminal, but may be working as the good guys, and Bruce Wayne is the bad guys in this situation. Really cool, great issue. I am very excited to see where this goes. Every time I'm like, okay, well, let's see what this issue does, what it brings to the table. And issue 1 and 2 have both knocked it out of the park. So I have thoroughly enjoyed Batman the Knight.
So you said the new character, her name is the Gray, was
The
it?
Gray Shadow.
The Gray Shadow,
And it's
yeah.
almost funny how Bruce Wayne is like, he encounters her out of costume later, and he's like, "You're the Gray Shadow," and she's like, "I've got a name. Like, here's my name. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything." He's like, "But what if I turn you into the police?" She's like, "You're gonna tell them that you were breaking into a house and you ran into this other criminal that you don't have any proof that that's who she is." And she's like, "Okay, so I can just give you my name. It's fine."
Yeah, I've been reading some rumblings about her first appearance in this because it's like expanding the Batman mythos a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we knew everyone from his history,
Yeah.
and now here's this new cool character that they could expand upon, have come back.
Yes.
So-
And you see a little bit of like, why does he like Catwoman later? There's a little bit of that of like, you know, so some early rumblings of that. We also have a variant for it. This is the Federici variant, which is really nice. Great interpretation of what's going on in the book.
All right, another highly anticipated book this week, Thor issue number 22. This is the fourth part to the God of Hammer story. So there's only going to be one more part after this. Now check out this cover. We got a bunch of people on it. And the reason is because this issue begins with Beta Ray Bill doing this really awesome, it's a 2-page spread where he calls out to every ally he's ever had. Like, he calls in all his favors. It's really awesome. He gets to do this really powerful speech through a lot of different panels that all link in with him in the center, where he's just like kind of summoning all his powerful friends, which, you know, it's some tough people, as you can see on there, to try to go up against the God of Hammers, because the God of Hammers has, you know, killed so many Asgardians at this point. So you get to see how that goes. So that does go down. These characters, they are in this issue. Cool. I mean, it feels like the end of a major crossover story arc thing with all these people appearing in this issue. I was pretty surprised. I think Marvel just lets Donny Cates do whatever he wants now. Yeah. You know, with the success of King in Black and all the other things he's done. So I was pretty surprised and excited to see all these characters. Now, I'm not going to tell you you see tons of them throughout it. There's too many of them. And ultimately, this book is Thor's book. So there is definitely more of the battle between Thor and the God of Hammers, where all the remaining how and why questions about the God of Hammers is answered in this issue. And this is a big battle / power up issue. You know what I mean? Like final battle is going to be next issue. This is we're powering up, and there is a power up thing that happens with Thor. You'll have to read to see. In fact, by the end of this issue, he both gains something very important and major, and loses something very important and major in preparation for where this is going. So. And this does have a variant. We ran out of it. already before the show, so I don't have it to show.
Still okay. Okay, my next one is our next installment of Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 89. So we kind of now know what this is leading to with the new number one with Ramita Jr. and everything. But you can tell we're getting late in the game for the Beyond story, which is cool. I've really enjoyed all of this, and now with the introduction of Queen Goblin, it's kind of Senate soaring even higher because of how cool of a character she is. Now, a lot of things are saying this is her kind of origin issue, and I would say it's more of like the last 2 minutes of her origin. It's essentially her like breaking out of something and be like, and I'm gonna go get them, and you're like, I don't really know how you got on that table or anything, but it's still cool. So Peter Parker is still in the hospital. Like he's been working on kind of building up his strength and everything with Black Cat and Captain America have been kind of training him to regain his abilities, but he's still pretty much down and out. And a really funny thing happens with Black Cat when Peter's like, I'm going to go stop this new Queen Goblin. She does something where if he's strong enough, he can go fight her, but he's got to prove it. But Black Cat's going to go take on Queen Goblin. So this is a Black Cat versus Queen Goblin issue, which is super cool. Like Black Cat has become such a great character.
I like Black Cat a lot.
She is with almost no powers. I know sometimes she's got kind of luck powers or whatever, but essentially no powers. She's still pretty formidable. And we do learn a little bit more about Queen Goblin and her powers. She does have some abilities. She has a thing called the Goblin Gaze, which reminds me a little bit of Ghost Rider's Penance Stare, but with some different effects. But she's definitely setting herself up to be a very deadly foe that I think is going to be around for a while, especially with this creative team. This issue is written by Patrick Gleason, and so with him like spearheading this, seems like he's getting to write the major players in the major story arc. We get a little bit more of how the Ben Reilly story and the Peter story are converging, all with the kind of Beyond Corporation looming in the background. So, really fun issue. Mark Bagley is back on art, so it feels very classic Spider-Man with Bagley on art, but anytime he does it, it looks so, I don't know, it reminiscent of Ultimate Spider-Man and his time on Spider-Man. It just looks right. So, great issue of Amazing Spider-Man. And then we have a variant by Patrick Gleason, which I think this variant is awesome. Really spotlighting Queen Goblin on there with that like Spider-Man skull. Really cool.
All right, probably my favorite DC read of this week is the latest issue of Nightwing. This is issue 89. So this is the first of just a little two-part crossover between Nightwing and Superman, son of Kal-El. So there's Nightwing and Jonathan Kent hanging out on the cover there. And it begins with a flashback of one of the first times that Nightwing ever meets Jonathan Kent. So Jonathan Kent's even younger, knows his powers much less. And some things happen where Nightwing and Batman have to help Superman kind of find him. And it's a very sort of funny, heartfelt situation. You'll have to read it to see, but I like the flashback part was just dead on perfect to start up. Okay, well here's sort of Nightwing's relationship with Jonathan Kent. You also get a bit in there where Batman and Superman are talking about what it's like trying to be fathers raising these budding heroes.
Yeah.
And that part's really good as well. And there's a little humorous moment where you learn a little bit more about some funny, at least one funny thing that Batman keeps on his utility belt and how he keeps it in a very dangerous place. So, I mean, that's like the first 4 pages of this. This is what I like about Nightwing. You know, like right off the bat, it's like, I didn't expect all this. And it's really good too.
Yeah.
Really good character building in moments that are not wasted at all. So then you get to the regular part of the book where Nightwing is having to he knows that Jonathan Kent needs some help right now. He knows he's at a crossroads of trying to be Superman. His father's not around anymore. And he was asked by Clark before Clark left to
Mm-hmm.
watch in on him. And so he's going to do that. But he has even more of a reason because this issue has a former Teen Titan in it that we have not seen in a long time. And they're murdered. They're killed in this issue.
Wow.
And it turns out someone or some people are killing superpowered people. And so this is not just Nightwing mentoring Jonathan Kent or anything. I mean, it's definitely going to be some of that. This is also, there's something going on, some real bad villains, and they're going to have to try to figure it out together. And so I honestly, by the end of the issue, it was really good. I was like, how are they going to wrap this up in one more issue? This feels like it should be at least a 4-issue thing here. But I have trust. The writing in these are so tight. I think it's going to be that way. So I think the second part is in the next Son of Kal-El, if I'm not mistaken.
So they're alternating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the last thing is, in this issue, I always like it where you learn something that is important info, but it's for the other book. Well, you learn who one of the main investors in Truth is. You know, Truth, of course, is the organization Jay Nakamura is in, which we've learned he has powers. He's Gossamer, and we've learned the other Truth people kind of have powers too. You get more of that in this book, and you finally learn here's how they're getting a lot of their money. So I think that's cool because that is purely a Superman Son of Kal-El mystery. But
you can get a little bit of that information and take it back over with you when you read the next one.
Yes, it is a true crossover. So, of course, we have the wonderful Jamal Campbell variant. I just don't think they're ever going to take him off of these variants. So,
next up is one I've only got a little bit to say about, but it is really cool. This is King Spawn number 7. Can't believe we're already up to number 7. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about the new releases for all the
Spawn universe is in full effect.
Yes. So on the cover there, this is the Baren's variant, or the A cover. You've got Raven Spawn. Well, he doesn't actually appear in the book, but it's a really cool cover with that kind of variant of Spawn. So in this issue, we see what happens when you sit on Spawn's throne and you're not Spawn. So we've got this evil group that's kind of high up in an office building. They've been kind of orchestrating everything going on. We do get the name. I said before, I believe the last issue, there was like a table of a bunch of people sitting around. That if any of these characters were anything, this would be considered a cameo. This one, we do know the leader of that group's name, and he is called the Dark Azrael, which is funny because Azrael, of course, is a DC character, so my mind goes to that character. But no, this is kind of an angel-like character with black wings who is, I think, being built up as kind of the big antagonist for this series. But they have Spawn's throne, and as punishment, he kind of just pushes somebody onto it, and it's not pretty. That's really cool. And there is another, I feel like what all these books are doing is they are reaching back into the toy bag of McFarlane stuff and bringing in characters that we haven't seen in a long time to kind of bolster this entire universe. And there's a return of another really cool character, a character I really love the design for. That I don't know the last time we saw him, but it's been quite a while. That makes a return in this and gets possibly a new title and kind of a new job that looks like they're going to be going up against Spawn pretty soon. So, really cool issue. And we've got an awesome Fernandez variant as well.
All right, so here's one that is going to be disappearing from the shelves of comic stores everywhere. This is Venom number 5. So this issue is written by Al Ewing. So, you know, most of the issues have been Ram V, but they're kind of taking turns based on the subject matter. It seems like Ram V is doing the Dylan issues, and Al Ewing is doing the issues that don't have to do with Dylan. That's the most I can say on that. But, okay, so this is big because it is the first appearance of a group called the Kings in Black. Okay? And it's not just, oh, here's a group, they're called that, they're in the shadows. No, you get to meet them individually. So these characters all have individual names. They are new symbiotes, or possibly even more powerful than that. There's still more to be revealed about who they are exactly, but they're all throughout this issue. Now, how can that be? This is called Venom. It's not called, here's some new characters. Well, this is a heavy Meridius issue. So Meridius is the new big bad that was introduced when this series started, who is sort of pulling the strings behind the scenes, having to do with Eddie and Dylan. And we still don't know what Meridius's plan is, but in this issue, the narration's kind of being done by him, and you learn that he sees things as a very long game of chess across time. He views time very differently. It seems he is very long lived, and he has all these things already set up and prepared, and all this stuff that he's going to do. In fact, you even get a flashback to parts of issue 1. And you get to see the panels of things that happened in issue 1, but now he's thinking over the text. You get to see, well, here's what I was doing, and here's what I think, and here's how I'm manipulating this whole thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. You also get to see where Meridius and these Kings in Black are. They're just not on Earth. It's not that simple. They're somewhere that's sort of unlike anywhere I've read about in the Venom universe before. It's a very weird place. Now, are they just hanging out there? Are they trapped there? You'll have to read and try to figure it out along with me, because it's complicated. Really neat issue of Venom. They're just widening the scope even further about the symbiotes and all things linked with them. And of course, there's the return of a character everyone's been waiting for. Let's see if I've forgotten anything else. I think that's it. But one of the best ways to deal with a new villain and build them up is you gotta spend time with them.
Yeah.
And so this is your villain issue, in addition to all these first appearances of these other characters who have lines, they have personalities that are actually spelled out in this. Like, oh, this guy, he's kind of that way, and this one, he's that way, and you see them interact and everything. So I have a feeling this is going to be one of these books some people are going to bank on big and buy like a stack of them, just in case.
So is there? It's not the first appearance of the main villain, but
No.
Is it the Kings in Black?
All the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 other ones that are in this. That's all their first appearance for sure, like full appearance. But that is my spoiler light review of Venom number 5. Again, like Thor, we are already out of the variant for this issue.
Yeah, and just flipping through the last page, it's pretty scary looking.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I skimmed through it and I was like, that's very uncomfortable.
It's very scary. It has to do with Meridius's future plan. That's what you see.
Okay. So my next one is our weekly check-in. I don't have any Star Wars books this week. How weird is that?
How did that happen?
How did that happen? That means the next week
Twice
there's
as
going to be
many.
I was about to say there's going to be twice as many.
Double next week.
But I'm not without my special corner of talking about something, because it is time for hey guys, what's going on with Wolverine? Is he alive? Is he dead? I think that's what it's called. Now, this is X Lives of Wolverine number 3. So, of course, X Lives of Wolverine is following Wolverine mentally, psychically, somehow going into the, not really his past lives, but past roles he's taken on in different points in time, to try and protect someone. I still don't want to give it away. I feel like if you're reading it, you know who I'm talking about, but he's trying to protect someone and their ancestors. I feel like that's a part I didn't understand before, is because he would go even further back in time than this character. I'm like, why are you here? Oh, he's protecting this lineage. And in this, we've kind of built up these multiple timelines, and we are jumping all around them in this. So there is the one that is back on a whaling ship that Wolverine's having to protect someone. And what he's protecting from, no spoiler now, is Omega Red. Omega Red has got the ability to, similar to Wolverine, go back and inhabit, where Wolverine inhabits his own body. Omega Red is taking over these different people who are playing parts in this time frame. So it's pretty cool. You get kind of variations on things. And there is a great Moby Dick moment where it's not the Ahab character that Omega Red takes on, it is the other. And you'll have to check that out because it is pretty epic. But then we've got some more classic Wolverine time frames. You know, he's got the whisker suit on. He's back in the military time frame where he was being like a secret agent. Um, but this is, I feel like, the first time they're addressing Wolverine really questioning, can I actually change things in the past? I'm aware here. What can I do? And that goes to the point of there's one of the timelines where his former wife, the mother of Doc and his son, is the one who has been controlled by Omega Red. And he has to mentally call out to Jean and be like, if I kill her, is Dawkins still going to be okay? Is there anything Professor X can do to, like, you know, trap his mind so if he needs to be reborn, he can be reborn in this? So we get an answer to how much can he change in the past, which I think that's going to be a big part in this series. But it's a really fun issue. If you want just Wolverine action, that is what this series has been. There is a good storyline going on, but every section Wolverine is in, most of his dialogue is doing during combat, which is great. Like that's what you want your Wolverine to do. But the final page kind of reveal is also going to be very interesting. I'm interested to see where the series is going. It's been fun so far. I think it's going to be fun to read as a whole as well, because it's going to be so many timelines going on. But we are actually sold out of the main cover. This is the thing we were kind of warning people of. I think this is the last issue. I had to place the orders before issue 1 was out.
Yep.
So I had to order, a month in advance.
Totally blind on an issue.
Totally blind on how many people were going to be reading
Not
this.
even number 1.
So this is, thankfully I ordered up on some of the variants as well. So we do have some of the variants. But this is one, make sure you let your store know, because with this book being pretty much weekly, this one and X Deaths of Wolverine, they are placing their orders way far out for future issues. So let them know that you want to be on the series, because I think this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, as a comic shop, we have to be careful because sometimes the series isn't that good.
Yeah.
And if we have to order issue 3 before issue 1 drops, we are left holding a ton of excess. And
yes.
That's not good for the bottom line or paying your bills.
So we have some of the variants now. This is the Charles variant. Pretty cool. We have the Bagley trading card variant, this time Wolverine in Japan. This is a great one. This is almost like the Dodderman ones they've been doing, but this time Jen Bartel is doing a kind of a multiple Wolverine splash.
You're right, yeah.
It's funny. She's like, I can do that.
I can do it.
And this comes out before that main Wolverine one comes out in about a month's time. So
hey, if Bartel and Dodderman want to get in a back and forth competition for who's the better artist, I'm all for it. I was about to say, they're both fantastic.
I think artists. We just win out of that competition. So
yes.
Yeah, we've got the Bartel cover, and then we have the. But Dodderman does have a book this week. We have the Dodderman trading card variant with Wolverine X-23.
Okay, so another really cool read this week from DC is Flash issue number 779. If you watch our review show, you know I'm a big fan of current Flash and the arcs he's been on. This is the finale of the Gem World arc where he's going up against Eclipso, who has been taking over the minds of all the other heroes and attacking Flash. This issue, okay, so it's already the finale of that. So already, we're keyed up to see how will Flash survive this and how he beat Eclipso. But this issue, the writer, he always does more than you expect. There are 3 surprise reveals of people with new powers or powers we didn't know they had. So yeah, of varying degrees. With one of them was a complete shock to me. One of the characters who has powers in this that we didn't think had powers in this, I'm like, what, really? And we learn why. We learn they're related to a more major hero, and it makes this character's first appearance a few issues back possibly worth something now.
Hmm.
So that's the most I can say. But there are also two other people who gain powers who either haven't had them lately or have never had them. So I was just surprised,
Yeah.
you know, and all of them are very interesting, and they don't all happen at once either. So of course, in this, Wally West, he is in dire need of help, and in last issue, his kids, Irie and Jai, they became aware he needed help, and they, you know, at least Irie has the Speed Force, and she's able to go there. So they go there. Of course, they're going to try to help him. It's going to be a last stand sort of thing against Eclipso. There's also the Glaive. How does that figure into things? All of that goes down. It's a satisfying ending, but then there's a surprise afterwards that relates to what I was talking about previously about people getting powers. And I guess to add a little more, it looks like Wally's building a whole new Flash family, it seems like. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. So another really good issue of The Flash. And if anybody reads it in the comments, you can talk about the other character who has powers. And I'm going to have to look back in my collection to see where did this character first appear now. So, and gets a name, everything.
Wow.
So here is the Todd Knock variant. And then we also have this Franklin variant for Black History Month.
Flash is delivering every issue. Every issue is like, this is a whole new thing.
It's a good read, and I think that maybe the writer's like, okay, well, it's a good read, but, you know, people, they also want, like, first. So I'm going to put some of those in there, too.
But just with the issue where it's like, oh, you're in the book, too. Yeah. And it's just like every time is something cool.
Yep.
Okay, next up, I have X-Men number 8. And I love MODOK, so this cover just made me happy. It's like a full body shot of MODOK.
That's a face only Andy can love.
So this issue does feature MODOK. Not a whole lot to say about this. It's kind of a I feel like an in between story arcs kind of issue where it's definitely character development and everything, but we've kind of passed some of the big threats. But in this one, MODOK is attacking a cruise ship. Like, while the cruise ship's going on, and mind controlling the people on there. But when the X-Men run into him, what is he doing? He's just checking out the buffet. He's just loading up on that all-you-can-eat buffet. And I don't know, that's kind of the fun of MODOK, is like, you never know like what he's going to do or what his reasons for things are.
He's got some silly subterfuge he usually tries.
This does have the first mention of what's going to be a series, the Immortal X-Men, that we learn kind of who names them that and why and everything, which is pretty cool. And the stuff that's going on with Cyclops / Captain Krakoa, I think is some of the most interesting, because, you know, he had to, the world doesn't know that the X-Men can be brought back to life. That's kind of
that's a secret.
That's a secret. That's in the superhero community. You know, Captain America knows, people like that. But when the public saw Cyclops die, well, you can't just have Cyclops pop right back up, even though superheroes do that all the time. So you imagine anytime that, you've got to kind of have a backup plan so the characters can come back, but, you know, each time they've got like a Groucho Marx mustache on or something. But the stuff that Cyclops is going through in this is very interesting. So, fun issue. I'm looking forward to the kind of the next big story arc taking on. But if you want to fill those in-between bits with MODOK, I'm perfectly okay with that. We have the Sway Black History Month variant, which a lot of people picking this one up. Awesome Storm cover. And then we have a 1 in 25 Woods variant that we are selling for 25. Big old Modog mouth on it.
All right, so I read Fantastic Four issue number. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Issue number 40, which is the next part of the Reckoning War. So this has, I think, a first full appearance in it. It is a character named Rapture, but it's one of these ones where I'm going to have to once again go back in my collection and look it up. I tried to do research and I couldn't find anything, so this is definitely just out of my own head. So who is Rapture? So she may have been shown in the past because a long time back there was another Fantastic Four enemy who showed Ben Grimm sort of his end, like you want to see your death sort of thing, and he saw someone who killed him, and it is this character. So I think this character, it's a she, was seen in cameo back then, but in this one she has a few lines, she gets the name, and so I think it's her first full, and I think she is one of the people behind this Reckoning War, because that's been one of the questions is who is arming the galaxy and starting all this battle everywhere. So I just wanted to start out by saying I think it is Rapture's first full appearance, but don't necessarily quote me on that. I didn't have time to run home and go through my back issues. So a lot of other things happen in this issue as well. Firstly, I'll say the Fantastic Four get a new member. Someone sort of leaves the team, not permanently, but someone goes away, and so another person gets elected into the group, and it looks like they're going to stay. And it's a pretty major character. If you've been reading about Reckoning War and a character who was going to be important to it, it's that character.
Okay.
So also in this issue, you get to see what will make the Watchers go to war. And I don't mean just Uatu. I've been reading him, as long as I've been reading comics, and as much as he's supposed to watch, he always does a little tinkering. But the other Watchers often don't. This time, all of them are like, it's time to go to war. So I think that's
whole army of bobbleheads going out there.
Yeah. Well, they got the good technology and all the watching. They better know something at this point.
You would hope.
Yeah. So, and the last thing, a lot goes down this issue. It's way too much to go over, but I will say Reed Richards, he's kind of using Johnny Storm as a weapon, because Johnny got cursed by Doom to like flame up like crazy.
Yeah.
And he's like got him in the suit that makes him where he won't do that. But because this war going on, he's like kind of a useful weapon. You'll have to read how that goes between them, because it doesn't go over very well with Johnny. So that's Fantastic Four number 40. Next part of the Reckoning War. We have this 1 in 10 design variant on sale for our customers for $15. That is Rapture right there. And so that's another reason I think it's a first full, because they do the design variant.
Okay, next up we have our next installment of Marvel Voices. So this is Marvel Voices Legacy. I think it's funny that they're all called number 1. This is Legacy number 1. Are we ever going to get a number 2? That's the question. But this is great. This is celebrating Black History Month. So this has writers and artists and everybody from the Black community. And this is like all the others. It is a collection of one-shot stories, some only a page long, which I thought was interesting, but it's cool to see what they can do in just a page. So we've got stories with Black Panther. I thought the standout story in this was the Sam Wilson story, where he is, in the process of becoming Captain America. He's still a little iffy on people calling him Captain America, but he's learning to like it. But he is going on a date with Misty Knight that gets interrupted by crime, and it's just a lot of fun. We've got a Misty Knight and Luke Cage story, a Shuri story, Spectrum, Moon Girl, Valkyrie, Blue Marvel, Miles Morales. There is an interview with Brian Stelfreeze. There's kind of a history, some history on character, little essay things that are really cool. So just another fun addition to these Marvel voices. And this does give a little hint in the end, which I thought was interesting on the last page. It was like, stay tuned this year for the further adventures of. And it names a bunch of characters that are in this. So you're like, oh, they don't have a series right now. So I wonder if this is kind of a hint at who's going to get them, including Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So be on the lookout for all the new stuff with those characters.
Yeah, with Moon Girl getting a cartoon,
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. Okay, so from Behemoth Comics. Oh,
I've got some
that's
variants.
right. It's the
Yeah.
it's the variant.
We've got the Coipel variant.
The voices ones they always got.
They
that.
always
Yeah,
have them. They get really big people on them too.
Getting way ahead of myself.
And here is the Clark variant, which is really nice, with the Black Panther mural on there. This doesn't straight up like talk about the passing of Chadwick Boseman and everything, but I feel like the Black Panther story, which has a lot to do with Black Panther in the astral plane, and then we've got this cover with him kind of the painting on the wall and reverence and everything. There's some hints to it that I think are really nice in this.
Okay, so from Behemoth Comics, I read a new issue number 1 called "Until My Knuckles Bleed." What a title!
One of those full sentence titles.
Yeah, so right on the cover you see the Big Bruiser guy. So this is written and all the art is done by Victor Santos. He did everything in this. This is very much a love letter to 90s comics in a way, because it starts with a flashback of these characters and they used to be superheroes back in the 90s, and that flashback is done in a style very akin to Frank Miller's Sin City style. Black and white art, lots of action, lots of contrast. It looks great. But that was then. This story is being told now. So these characters, in particular, you follow the big dude on the cover. He's older now. He's not like a doddering old man, but he's definitely older now. And the world has changed. It's no longer the 90s. Now it's this new colorful world. And he's no longer a superhero. He gave all that up. Now he's a bouncer at a strip club. Not nearly as fantastic a job. All his friends' health are failing. All his old superhero friends have gotten older and such. And so it's kind of a look at, I guess, what happens with these heroes later on is what it's about. It has characters like, his name is Damager. That was his name. His ex-wife, who is in the group, her name is Avenge Lady. So I think a lot of this also is a nod to Rob Liefeld in the 90s as well. So basically this character, he needs money, but he wants to keep his honor, and there's a struggle going on about that. How can he still be the person he used to be when it seems like his best years are behind him? So that's the general premise. The action all happens in the flashbacks, but there is a good bit of action. I think it's going to lead up to him probably ended up getting in some mess-up situations in the present, though. So we have a variant that is also done by Victor Santos himself.
Okay, next up I just have a cool cover to show off. I didn't get to read this in depth as much as I wanted, but we have the Jen Bartel variant for Robin's, I believe, number 4. This time with Stephanie Brown working out. Really nice Bartel cover. And we're still trying to figure out this, if the person who claims to be the first Robin is really the first Robin, or is she just making it up?
Okay, so I'm going to review another Behemoth book. This is Quad number 1. And right there on the cover it says Terra and Elvis, which are the names of our main characters. Terra is the girl, Elvis is her cat. This is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic universe book. So this is set on Earth 4 generations after a solar storm has wiped out most technology. So the only technology left is the stuff that was already around. All our satellites are gone, our electric grid's gone, stuff like that. So Terra is a mechanic, and that is a very coveted position because basically it's all about keeping this stuff running now. and she's offered a job where she's going to have to get a repair piece from this bad spot on outside the city where the mutatos are. So pretty much just, like Fallout mutants.
Sounds like something you'd order at Taco Bell.
So she goes with her cat. Her cat is actually sort of a like a robot hybrid who helps her. And things aren't as they seem. She's in a lot more danger than expected. And by the end of the book, it'll leave you wondering how different is this than other post-apocalyptic things? Because I think I saw something that was possibly alien. But you'll have to read it to see what you think for yourself. So a new post-apocalyptic book, and like Until My Knuckles Bleed, which is another Behemoth book, this is also done by a writer-artist. The story and art is done by Eduardo Schall. So pretty interesting. I don't know if Behemoth does that with all their books, and I'm going to have to start paying attention. Because I know that You Wanted Darkness book is the same. That's a writer-artist. That might be how they do it over there.
That's interesting.
Oh, and we have a few variants. So this is I think the B cover, and then we get the C cover. I kind of like this one where you get a close-up of the main character as she's holding her cat and smiling. See the reflection in her lenses. And we get the D cover.
I think the last thing I have to show off this week is been sitting here. This is the Rose Besch variant for Nyx number 4. Another really nice Besch cover. It seems like Dynamite kind of has Besch on lockdown a little bit on these covers, but they're all so good.
Yeah, it gives me like a Ghost in the Machine sort of feel to it. I don't know why, but all right. The last one I'm going to go over is the last issue of Primordial. This is issue number 6. The series is over. I even wore my Leica shirt in honor of that today. If you've been reading and enjoying it, same deal here. Just as strange, just as trippy, but you do get, it finalized. Everything kind of comes to a head. What I'll say is Leica gets a happy ending. Not just a happy ending, it's like a heartwarming ending that I didn't expect coming. Leica gets a very happy ending. As for everybody else, including everyone else on Earth, not necessarily as happy an ending. So that is Primordial number 6, and here is the Shimuzu variant. Just a very different book all around. The premise to it is just so great. These animals that we launched up into space and what happens with them.
So, probably not getting a sequel. Probably not a volume 2.
It doesn't feel that way to me, but it doesn't seem that.
Yeah.
I would say probably not.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Well, that's it. That is our show for this week. As we said earlier, not as many comics out as the last few weeks, but still some very important books.
Yes.
And we hope we have told you the premises to these so you know which ones sound like they'd be a good read for you. We hope we have told you which ones have those first appearances you want to grab from the shelf before they're all gone. If we've done that, we've done our job. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate that. That'll alert you to our other videos that we're going to be doing, including this Friday, our Comics from the Future video.
Yes.
So thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.